Good morning. Welcome to this May Qigong practice focused on the wood element for calming our nervous systems and addressing our livers. Since we're still in spring, wanted to share this practice with you from Holden Qigong. So hope you'll enjoy it. Okay, so we'll begin with taking one hand over our heart and one hand over our bellies, and taking a moment to just relax and do some nice deep breathing, some wave breathing, like when a wave is coming up from the ocean, we're breathing belly, ribs, chest. So let's do that together. Nice big breath. So nice big inhale, belly, ribs, chest. And then chest, ribs, belly, blowing it out at the bottom of the breath. And let's do one more. Belly, ribs, chest. And then just some nice, relaxed breathing in and out through the nose. Letting yourself feel your feet on the earth, as well as tuning into the energy above you. Remembering that any time we slow the breath, it allows our nervous system to relax. So let's keep this going with some nice deep breathing with Buddha holds up the earth, slowly coming up, spiraling the hands. Nice deep breath and opening the elbows, and then releasing. So nice big inhale in through the nose, opening those elbows, and then exhaling. Nice big inhale with a slight pause at the top of the breath. And then exhaling as the hands float down, pausing at the bottom of the breath. And then this time, keeping your right hand facing the above and your left facing the earth. Let's do a nice little stretch, opening the intercostals. And then letting as the hand comes down, letting those pinkies lead, passing at the heart, moving into what's known as yin yang palm. So inhaling as the hands come down, and then exhaling, or no, I'm sorry, inhaling as we fill the lungs here, and then exhaling as the hands come down. Nice big inhale and stretch. Opening the sides of the spine with this gentle stretch, and the intercostals, and then letting that upper hand float down. Great. So now we're going to bring our left hand behind our head and slap down from the armpit to the hip, just slapping down. Actually, we'll start on the right side where the liver and the spleen is. There's another way for calming the nervous system. So we're going to slap down from the armpit to the hip, doing this nice chi massage. And as we do this, we're helping release the negative emotions associated with the wood element, which are anger and frustration and irritation and jealousy. So just doing some nice activation and cleansing here. Great. And then switching sides, bringing the left hand behind the head and slapping down the side of the body. And as we do this, they're halfway down in the middle of the ribs is a powerful point called spleen 21. And this is known as the great connector for connecting all the energy systems throughout the body. Great. And then just letting that go. Taking a moment to pause and close your eyes and appreciate that activation. And then from here, with our knees soft, let's bring the right hand across the face as the left hand goes behind. And then inhaling to center and exhaling as we do some nice wringing out. Again, inhaling to center and exhaling as we do some twisting and wringing out. Getting this nice spiraling through the upper back and the mid back and even the lumbar area. Wringing out any tightness and tension. And then coming back to center. Okay, and then let's gently move into knocking on the door of life, activating these important chi points at the abdomen and the door of life, where those adrenals sit, just above the kidneys. Getting this nice spiraling again of the spine. And then coming up underneath the collarbone, waking those lungs this morning. Waking lung 1 and lung 2. And then coming over the tops of the shoulders, releasing any tightness and tension, and giving yourself a pat on the back for showing up here this morning, tending your body. And also welcoming in clear thinking, clear decision making for this day. And then dropping down underneath the collarbone, bringing some love to those lungs. And then back down to the chi belt. And you might look behind you to get a little bit more opening in the spine. And then slowing it down. Coming back into stillness. Beautiful. Okay. So now we're going to move into wide leg, knocking on the door of life. So finding a stance that feels good to you. And then we're going to do some shifting of our weight. So just shifting your weight Again, tapping these important chi points as we strengthen the legs, continuing to activate our systems. And then coming up underneath the collarbone, again, bringing some good immunity to those lungs, waking the body. And then coming up over the tops of the shoulders. Once again, releasing any tightness and tension there that's so normal, letting it all go. And then coming back down underneath the collarbone. Bring in some good energy to those lungs, appreciating our breath, sourcing our own life force. And then dropping back down to the chi belt. Waking your digestion, activating those adrenals. And then slowing it down, taking a moment, pausing, closing your eyes, just tuning in, allowing yourself to notice the activation in your torso and in your arms, your own aliveness, the preciousness of your own effortless breath and life force. All right, and then from this wide stance, we're going to come down, do a little stretching now that we've done that activation. And so turning to your left, you're going to keep this right arm straight and bend your left arm, sinking down, looking over your left shoulder and holding that, dropping the tailbone, strengthening your legs. And then inhaling to center, switching sides, keeping that left arm straight and the right arm soft as you look over the right shoulder. Doing some nice deep breathing, opening up the left side of those ribs and intercostals with this gentle stretch. And then inhaling to center and exhaling as you look over the shoulder. Again, inhaling to center and then exhaling as you look over your right shoulder. And one more. Looking over that left shoulder, dropping the tailbone. And then releasing. And then allowing yourself to just hang forward, letting everything relax. Opening up the lower back and your hamstrings. Relaxing the neck and the head and the shoulders. Letting everything open. And then grasping one wrist and then slowly rolling up, reaching up into the above, and then coming down, moving into full body flow. So we're inhaling as we come up, rolling the spine, opening the front of the body, making more space for all those organs, and then slowly coming down. Nice big inhale. and then releasing. And you can do this slowly or quickly. It's a wonderful warm up. I'll do one more. Such a great stretch for the body. And then while we're here, we're now going to start to your right. So we're going to keep our knees soft, but gently turn at the waist and slowly come down toward the right side. And then coming across over to the left and coming up and stretching the left side of the body. And then coming down, coming across the front of the body. And then coming up and stretching the right side. Nice big opening for the right side of the body. And then dropping down. Inhaling as you come up. And then exhaling as you come back down. Wonderful stretch, getting both sides of the body, opening up the left side of the body, and then coming across and opening the right side. And then turning back to center and letting your arms float down. Okay, beautiful job. All right, so now we're going to move into closed leg swimming dragon. And actually, no, first we're going to stretch our shoulders a little bit more with dragon stretches its tail. So turning to your right, we're going to first look at our hands, and then we're going to press away, turn, and then turn the head to the left. So we're inhaling as the hands come in, and then exhaling as we press, turn, and stretch. Again, inhaling, and then press, turn, and stretch. So this is a wonderful movement for working the cervical area and stretching the upper back and shoulder. So pressing, turning, and stretching. Press, turn, and stretch. And then this time, let's hold it, expanding those fingertips. It's holding this stretch, letting that arm and front straighten as much as possible. Remember to breathe. And then releasing. Okay, excellent. Okay, and then the other side. Beginning looking here and then pressing away as we turn the head and stretch. So inhaling as we look at the hands and then pressing, turning, and stretching. Again, inhaling as we look at the hands and then press, turn, and stretch. Again, inhaling as we look at the hands and then exhaling as we press, turn, and stretch. And one more. And this time, let's hold, expanding those fingertips and hands, breathing. Seeing again if you can stretch that arm in front, straighten it a little bit more, opening that shoulder and all those lines of tension in the upper arm, the meridians of the arms, and then releasing. Okay, great job. Okay, so now we're going to move into closed stance, swimming dragon. So palms together. And this is just a wonderful one, beautiful exercise with kind of 3 parts to it where we're addressing all the organs in our torso. So palms together and our knees are slightly bent. And so beginning, palms going to your right and head and hips go left. And then we come back to center, palms go left and head and hips turn right. And then back to center. So the head is moving in the hands are moving in the opposite direction of the head and hips. So we're moving across the heart. His hands go right, head and hips go left. And his hands go left, head and hips turn right. And then we're going to come down across the solar plexus, same thing. As hands go one way, head and hips go the opposite. Opening up this mid part of the spine, massaging these organs. And then we're going to drop down across the abdomen. Again, keeping this movement going, hands in one direction, head and hips in the opposite. Nice and slow, massaging all these internal organs. And then we're going to come back up to the solar plexus. Keeping this movement going. And then coming back up to the heart area, hands in one direction, head and hips in the opposite. Okay, beautiful. And so the second part of this movement is where our palms are together and we drop down and we're doing some swimming. So we're keeping our palms centered. And so we're moving our spine. Not so much the arms, but you can go low with this or slowly coming up. You can play with this, do your own swimming dragon dance this morning. So getting all that wonderful movement like a serpent in your spine. Noticing what it feels like to keep that going as the hands come up, coming up into the above. And then coming up onto our toes for strengthening our feet. And then dropping back down. Okay, wonderful. So now we're going to put it all together where we do one movement, addressing the heart, solar plexus, and our abdomen. Okay, so we're going to begin with taking our palms as on the right, and our knees are soft. And we're going to gather, we're going to make a circle in front, gathering energy and bringing it into our system. And again, circling, gathering fresh energy and bringing it into our space. And then one more, gathering energy. And then from here, palms go to your right, head and hips left. And then they drop down across the torso, palms to the left, head and hips right, and then down across the abdomen, and then through the torso, and then back across the heart. And then we move into our swimming dragon. So letting yourself play with this, moving from your center, moving your spine, slowly working your way upwards, slowly into the above, and then coming up onto the toes, reaching into the above, strengthening those bubbling springs at the balls of our feet, and then bringing the energy down. Okay, beautiful. And then starting to circle from your left, making a nice big circle, bringing some fresh energy in. And then again. And one more time. Nice big circle. And then we begin hands to the right, head and hips left, and coming across the heart, and then coming across the solar plexus, and then dropping down across the abdomen, and then coming up through the solar plexus again, and then coming back across the heart. And then moving into our swimming dragon. Slowly coming up, working that spine in all directions. Slowly swimming up, imagining yourself being like a blade of grass breaking through rock high in the mountains, the miracle of that, or little flowers, reaching into the above. And then bringing that energy back down. All right, beautiful job, everyone. Such a beautiful series. Okay, so let's move into a little shaking. Shaking your arms, relaxing your neck and shoulders. And this morning, since we're focusing on the wood element, since we're still in spring, and the wood element is it's associated with the liver, again, and the spleen. Let's work with the vocalized shoo sound, S-H-O-O-O, for cleansing. So take a breath in and let out shoo. And again, shoo. And then one more. Shoo. Letting it all go. Activating these 5 pumps. The arms, the legs, the spine. Let's do one more. Nice big breath. Shoo. And then coming into stillness, closing your eyes, allowing yourself to have a moment, appreciating that stillness allows us to tune in to the power and meaningfulness of the movement. Movement without stillness is not as powerful. So letting yourself tune in to your own life force, the release and activation of your system, your own aliveness this morning, the gift of all the stretching and activation you've done, all the sense of openness in your body and in your joints. And then slowly opening your eyes, coming back to the space with one another. Okay, I always like to remind you all that the first part of our practice is about activating our chi, and as we move into our flows, we have the opportunity to let the chi move us. You've moved your chi, now it gets to move you. So let's begin with opening the flow, letting our arms come up to shoulder height, and then gently dropping back down. Moving as if we're moving through water. Inhaling gently as the arms come up and exhaling as they drop down. Nice and relaxed. Perhaps tuning into that rocking motion of coming onto the balls of your feet as the hands drop down and onto your heels as the arms come up. Letting the chi move you. Tuning into your own effortless flow. Feeling that water move through your fingers. Tuning into the air at the backs of your hands and the front of your hands. Seeing if you can slow it down even more. And then pausing. And so from here, we're going to move into a flow called pulling the Gossamer Threads, with the opportunity to connect our brains and our bodies. And again, I mentioned that at the Tai Chi and Qigong conference that I was at, there was a lot of beautiful science behind the benefits of dual tasking, which this flow of actually we're opening the flow in 6 directions as we are paying attention to um, bringing our thumb and first finger, middle ring, and pinky together as we move. Okay, so we're going to begin with, again, our knees are soft. So we're slowly coming up, thumb and first finger together, up and back. And then we're pressing forward, thumb and middle finger together. And then pulling back, ring and finger and thumb together. And then as we go out to the sides, our pinky and thumbs, our pinkies and thumbs are together, pressing out to the sides. And then we're gathering all our fingertips together as we bring energy in and then release it down to the earth. And then again, inhaling as we come up, thumb and first finger, and exhale, thumb and middle finger, and inhale, thumb and ring finger, and then exhale, pinky and thumb as we expand our energy to the east and the west. And then we gather it all together, bringing it in towards our Shen, and then gently bringing it down through the front of the body. And beginning again. Inhaling as we come up and back. Exhaling as we press forward. Inhaling as we come back in. Exhaling as we expand our energies to the east and the west. And then all fingers together as we bring it in. Relaxing our minds and our hearts and our bodies. And then beginning again, pulling these threads of energy. Pressing forward, thumb and middle finger. Gathering this energy, ring and thumb, ring finger. And then pinky and thumb extending out to the east and the west. And then gathering energies, thinking about what energies are you wanting to bring in to your system for health and healing. And then relaxing, bringing it down and through. And then from here, we're going to just pause and hold the chi ball for a moment. And then we're going to just let our fingers, hold our hands so that we're paying attention to the energy between like our thumbs and our first finger, middle, ring, and pinky. Just holding them and going back and forth. Tuning in to the energy at the ends of our fingertips. Relaxing your shoulders. And then from here, we're going to gather our fingers, gather this energy, and we're going to stretch it, bringing the arms up, and then releasing. And then we're going to bring our thumb and middle finger together for addressing the pericardium. And we're going to inhale as we open. And then we're going to release, bringing the arms forward, letting out the ha sound, and then coming back in, letting each finger touch thumb, first finger, middle, ring, and pinky. Bringing that energy in, gathering it, inhaling as we open, and then exhaling as we come down, thumb and middle finger. Inhaling as we open, and then releasing any energy that's not ours. And then coming in, letting the fingertips meet. 5 elements meets 5 elements as the fingertips touch. Gathering that energy, pulling it apart. Inhaling, and then releasing, thumb and middle finger together. Inhaling as we pull back, and then letting out the ha sound as the arms come forward. Releasing any energy that's not ours. So often we can pick up from others. Gathering it, stretching it, pulling it apart. Nice big inhale, and then coming down, addressing that Lao Gong point with thumb and middle finger touching. Opening the chest, nice big breath, and then releasing with the ha sound. And then 5 elements meets 5 elements. Gathering energy, stretching it apart. Nice big inhale, and then releasing. Thumb and middle finger together. Inhaling, and then releasing with that ha sound. 5 elements meets 5 elements. And we'll do one more. Stretching this energy, bringing it up. And then relaxing as the arms come down. Lao Gong point meets. Opening the chest, and nice big release with ha sound. And then 5 elements meets 5 elements as the fingers touch. And then back to just relaxing, opening, holding that chi ball. And then intentionally letting your hands, your fingertips face one another, and just gently moving them back and forth, being curious about the energy there. And then we're going to take your right hand and open it and make what's called sword fingers, where we've got two fingers together and the thumb is coming over the ring and pinky. And from here, we're just going to make a little circle at the palm of our hand. So let's just do that. Just seeing if you can tune in to energy and feeling it in your palm as you circle. And you might go closer and then also pull away and make a bigger circle. And also it's okay to just move your fingers back and forth toward the palm of your hand, feeling any energy there. Being curious if you feel any heat, tingling sensation, and then let's circle again. And then switching hands, opening your left hand and taking and sword fingers with the right. And same thing, let's just be in a place of curiosity. It's okay if you don't feel it, and if you do, great. So just slowly moving your fingers back and forth towards the palm. And then doing some gentle circling. You might close your eyes to tune in, doing some small circles and then some bigger circles. And then again, just back and forth. And then relaxing your hands and taking another moment to just feel what energy is there. Okay, wonderful. So as we talk about in Qigong, it's a self-healing practice, and we're having the opportunity with what we've just done to to cultivate energy in our hands and through our fingertips. And so just like is used in acupuncture or acupressure or Reiki, uh, sending energy through our hands to someone for healing. Now that we've done this, you might just take a moment with yourself to think about, is there a part of your body that could just use a little bit of extra healing? And perhaps it's like your neck area, or maybe you want to just send some healing to your eyes, or your own hearing. Taking a breath. Or maybe you've got a spot in your elbow or your shoulder. So just sending some loving kindness, some healing energy there. Okay, beautiful. Okay, and so we'll begin to complete our practice with some centering. So palms open and starting with your right arm, bringing it up over your head and down the midline. And then with the left. So taking a moment this morning to think about in what way you might need to fill your own cup. What is it that you might need to bring in today, whether it's more focused attention or more playfulness or some excellent relaxation? Whatever it is you need, you know what that is, just bringing it in. to your system. Inhaling as the arm comes up and exhaling as it comes down. And then this time with the left arm coming down, we're going to have the right arm come up and at the heart area, pass it and then open. So we've got left is coming down as the right comes up, passing at the heart. Getting this lovely sort of windmill movement. And then this time letting the left hand come down and the right come up and over. And so now as the right hand comes down, the left is going to come up, passing at the heart and circling. So we have this lovely movement of energy, bringing energy down from the heavens and up from the earth for completing and cleansing. And then now we're going to pause with the Taoist prayer pose with your left palm open and your right hand perpendicular at the chest. And take a moment to pause, close our eyes, holding gratitude for this moment and our practice this morning. And then letting that go, and then letting your right palm be open and bringing the left hand down to the heart. Again, in the Taoist prayer pose. Nice, relaxed breathing. And then letting both of our hands rest on our bellies, taking a moment to relax with bamboo sways in the wind, letting everything settle. And just appreciating yourself this morning and all the wonderful activation and stretching you've done, allowing you to cultivate more flow in your whole, more flow and relaxation in your nervous system. So letting everything settle, letting any scattered energy in your mind relax and drop down into the heart area. And letting any scattered energy in the heart area drop down finally into your own sea of chi, your own cauldron of wisdom, letting everything settle there. Nice, relaxed breathing. And just thanking yourself again for showing up and for the gift that you've given your body this morning. Cultivating relaxed mind and calm heart and tremendous vitality. And then bring our palms together. Let's thank one another for practicing. And thank you so much for being here this morning. And hope you'll enjoy this practice until we meet again. And we'll be in touch and see you soon. So wishing you a beautiful rest of your weekend and lots of love.